Book 2 of the Fables of Phaedrus. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Lenny. The Fables of Phaedrus by Phaedrus, translated by Henry Thomas Riley. Book 2. The Prologue. The plan of Aesop is confined to instruction by examples, nor by fables is anything else aimed at than that the errors of mortals may be corrected, and persevering industry exert itself. Whatever the playful invention, therefore, of the narrator, so long as it pleases the ear and answers its purpose, it is recommended by its merits, not by the author's name. For my part, I will with all care follow the method of the sage, but if I should think fit to insert something of my own, that variety of subjects may gratify the taste, I trust, reader, you will take it in good part, provided that my brevity be a fair return for such a favour, of which, that my praises may not be verbose, listen to the reason why you ought to deny the covetous, and even to offer to the modest that for which they have not asked. Fable 1. The Lion, the Robber, and the Traveller. While a lion was standing over a bullock, which he had brought to the ground, a robber came up and demanded a share. "I would give it you," said the lion, "were you not in the habit of taking without leave," and so repulsed the rogue. By chance, a harmless traveller was led to the same spot, and on seeing the wild beast, retraced his steps, on which the lion kindly said to him, "You have nothing to fear. Boldly take the share which is due to your modesty." Then, having divided the carcass, he sought the woods, that he might make room for the man. A very excellent example, and worthy of all praise, but covetousness is rich and modesty in want. Fable 2. The two women of different ages beloved by the middle-aged man. That the men, under all circumstances, are preyed upon by the women, whether they love or are beloved, this truly we learn from examples. A woman, not devoid of grace, held enthralled a certain man of middle age, concealing her ears by the arts of the toilet. A lovely young creature, too, had captivated the heart of the same person. Both, as they were desirous to appear of the same age with him, began, each in her turn, to pluck out the hair of the man. While he imagined that he was made trim by the care of the women, he suddenly found himself bald, for the young woman had entirely pulled out the white hairs, the old woman the black ones. Fable 3. The Man and the Dog. A man, torn by the bite of a savage dog, threw a piece of bread, dipped in his blood, to the offender. A thing that he had heard was a remedy for the wound. Then said Aesop, "Don't do this before many dogs, lest they devour us alive, when they know that such is the reward of guilt. The success of the wicked is a temptation to many." Fable 4. The Eagle, the Cat, and the Wild Sow. An eagle had made her nest at the top of an oak. A cat, who had found a hole in the middle, had kittened there. A sow, a dweller in the woods, had laid her offspring at the bottom. Then thus does the cat, with deceit and weak malice, destroy the community so formed by accident. She mounts up to the nest of the bird. "Destruction," says she, "is preparing for you, perhaps, too, for wretched me. For, as you see, the sow, digging up the earth every day, is insidiously trying to overthrow the oak, that she may easily seize her progeny on the ground." Having thus spread terror and bewildered the eagle's senses, the cat creeps down to the lair of the bristly sow. "In great danger," says she, "are your offspring, for as soon as you go out to forage with your young litter, the eagle is ready to snatch away from you your little pigs." Having filled this place likewise with alarm, she cunningly hides herself in her safe hole. Thence she wanders forth on tiptoe by night, and having filled herself and her offspring with food, she looks out all day long, pretending alarm. Fearing the downfall, the eagle sits still in the branches. To avoid the attack of the spoiler, the sow stirs not abroad. Why make a long story? They perished through hunger with their young ones, and afforded the cat and her kittens an ample repast. Silly credulity may take this as a proof how much evil a double-tongued man may often contrive. Fable 5. Caesar to the Chamberlain. There is a certain set of busybodies at Rome, hurriedly running to and fro, busily engaged in idleness, out of breath, about nothing at all, with much ado doing nothing, a trouble to themselves and most annoying to others. It is my object, by a true story, to reform this race, if indeed I can. It is worth your while to attend. Tiberius Caesar, when on his way to Naples, came to his country seat at Misenum, which, placed by the hand of Lucullus on the summit of the heights, beholds the Sicilian sea in the distance, and that of Etruria close at hand. One of the highly girt chamberlains, whose tunic of Pelusian linen was nicely smoothed from his shoulders downwards, with hanging fringes, while his master was walking through the pleasant shrubberies, began with bustling officiousness to sprinkle the parched ground with a wooden watering-pot, but only got laughed at. Thence, by short-cuts to him well known, he runs before into another walk, laying the dust. Caesar takes notice of the fellow, and discerns his object. Just as he is supposing that there is some extraordinary good fortune in store for him, "Come hither," says his master, on which he skips up to him, quickened by the joyous hope of a sure reward. Then, in a jesting tone, thus spoke the mighty majesty of the prince: "You have not profited much. Your labor is all in vain. Manumission stands at a much higher price with me." Fable 6. The Eagle, the Crow, and the Tortoise. No one is sufficiently armed against the powerful, but if a wicked adviser joins them, nothing can withstand such a combination of violence and unscrupulousness. An eagle carried the tortoise aloft, who had hidden her body in her horny abode, and in her concealment could not, while thus sheltered, be injured in any way. A crow came through the air, and flying near exclaimed, "You really have carried off a rich prize in your talons. But if I don't instruct you what you must do, in vain will you tire yourself with the heavy weight." A share being promised her, she persuades the eagle to dash the hard shell from the lofty stars upon a rock, that, it being broken to pieces, she may easily feed upon the meat. Induced by her words, the eagle attends to her suggestion, and at the same time gives a large share of the banquet to her instructress. Thus she, who had been protected by the bounty of nature, being an unequal match for the two, perished by an unhappy fate. Fable 7. The Mules and the Robbers. Laden with burdens, two mules were travelling along. The one was carrying baskets with money, the other sacks distended with store of barley. The former, rich with his burden, goes exulting along with neck erect, and tossing to and fro upon his throat his clear-toned bell. His companion follows with quiet and easy step. Suddenly some robbers rush from ambush upon them, and amid the slaughter pierce the mule with a sword and carry off the money. The valueless barley they neglect. While, then, the one despoiled was bewailing their mishaps, "For my part," says the other, "I am glad I was thought so little of, for I have lost nothing, nor have I received hurt by a wound." According to the moral of this fable, poverty is safe, great riches are liable to danger. Fable 8. The Stag and the Oxen. A stag, aroused from his woodland lair to avoid impending death threatened by huntsmen, repaired with blind fear to the nearest farmhouse, and hid himself in an ox-stall close at hand. Upon this an ox said to him, as he concealed himself. "Why, what do you mean, unhappy one, in thus rushing of your own accord upon destruction, and trusting your life to the abode of men?" To this he suppliantly replied, "Do you only spare me, the moment an opportunity is given, I will again rush forth." Night in her turn takes the place of day. The neat-herd brings fodder, but yet sees him not. All the farm servants pass and repass every now and then. No one perceives him. Even the steward passes by, nor does he observe anything. Upon this, the stag, in his joy, began to return thanks to the oxen who had kept so still, because they had afforded him hospitality in the hour of adversity. One of them made answer, "We really do wish you well, but if he who has 100 eyes should come, your life will be placed in great peril." In the meanwhile, the master himself comes back from dinner, and having lately seen the oxen in bad condition, comes up to the rack. "Why," says he, "is there so little fodder? Is litter scarce? What great trouble is it to remove those spiders' webs?" While he is prying into every corner, he perceives too the branching horns of the stag, and having summoned the household, he orders him to be killed, and carries off the prize. This fable signifies that the master sees better than any one else in his own affairs. The Epilogue. The Athenians erected a statue to the genius of Aesop, and placed him, though a slave, upon an everlasting pedestal, that all might know that the way to fame is open to all, and that glory is not awarded to birth but to merit. Since another has prevented me from being the first, I have made it my object, a thing which still lay in my power, that he should not be the only one. Nor is this envy, but emulation. And if Latium shall favour my efforts, she will have still more authors whom she may match with Greece. But if jealousy shall attempt to detract from my labours, still it shall not deprive me of the consciousness of deserving praise. If my attempts reach your ears, and your taste relishes these fables, as being composed with skill, my success then banishes every complaint. But if, on the contrary, my learned labours fall into the hands of those whom a perverse nature has brought to the light of day, and who are unable to do anything except carp at their betters, I shall endure my unhappy destiny with strength of mind, until fortune is ashamed of her own injustice. End of Book 2.